The only place that you can get a 500% return is investing in your freaking business. And you invest whether you're scared, whether you have the money, you don't have the money. You invest like your vision is real. There's no shortcut or cheat code here. I went through it, and if you want to transform your firm, you have to go through it too. Your learning budget, spend in mentors, coaches, and advisors. That's what creates the return on investment. Because if you don't know how to build a better intake process, you don't know how to hire people, what are you going to learn? Through trial and error. And trial and error is the most expensive way to learn any skill. Someone else has already learned it. And instead, you're going to learn from someone who's already been there, done that, to short circuit your path to success. So there's someone special named Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett, to me, super transformative because he makes 20 times more money than a company that he owns, the CEO of Coca-Cola. So the reason I found this really important is because the active manager of Coca-Cola spends every single day working in the business, and Warren Buffett, because he's in the wealth multiplier category, he makes 20 times more and does none of the work. This absolutely blew my mind when I saw this. Warren Buffett does two things. He allocates capital and he picks great managers. That's all he does. Most weeks, Warren Buffett has nothing in his calendar. He enters his week, he reads annual reports, and he decides where he's going to allocate capital next. And he decides who are the right CEOs that he wants to allocate capital to. And therefore, he buys companies. It's pretty damn simple. As a result of this, he has become great at trading two things. He trades money and other people's time. Warren Buffett makes 20 times more than the CEO of Coca-Cola, the person running the business, because he became great at trading money and other people's time. Other people's time means he doesn't do the work. Capital means he invests cash now for future cash flows. It begs the question, how do we do this so that we don't have to do all the work? Luckily, it's very simple. We have to learn to trade money for leads. Now, I'm going to break this down from a couple categories. If you get more leads for your business, are you going to make more revenue? If all else stays the same, your conversion rate, your average case value, most times you're going to get more revenue. Now, if your intake plummets, of course, you're not going to get more revenue. But let's talk about this first concept. Let's say you wanted to add $1.2 million. That is $100,000 a month. You're going to add an additional $100,000 a month in revenue. In order to add an additional $100,000 a month in revenue, okay, how many cases would you need for that? Well, let's look at your average case value. Your average case value, let's say it's $5,000. If your average case value is $5,000 in revenue per case, you would need 20 additional signed cases a month to hit that revenue. How are you going to get the 20 additional cases per month? In the leads model, if you had a 20% lead conversion rate, how many leads per month would you need to sign 20 additional cases per month? If you got 100 additional leads a month and you converted 20% of them, you would get a 20 additional cases per month. That's how you start trading money for leads. Now, what's really fascinating about this is the next step. After you start trading money for leads, and that gives you an additional 20 cases a month, okay, so let's say that you get the additional 20 cases a month, okay, so 20 cases times 5K a case equals 100 grand a month in additional revenue. Now, how are you going to get those additional 20 cases? The range was really between 18 to 40% that the firms that are crushing you and stealing all of your cases are spending on marketing. All the people I've interviewed over the last 3 years, and that's 3 of dozens and dozens, they're spending more money on marketing than you because they know this secret. If you were to spend 20% of that $100,000, you spend $20,000 a month. In exchange for that $20,000 a month, you're bringing in an additional $100,000 a month in revenue. Under that model, we have the next thought, which everyone's thinking, is how do I get the money to spend $20,000 a month on marketing? Does anyone know the statistic on how many millionaires are self-made? Well, Dave Ramsey did an actual very big multi-100,000 person study on this. 86%. 86%. That means 86 out of 100 millionaires didn't have the money. What do you think that means? Do you think they just waited until one day they had some cash infusion and just waited until they had the money? No. They traded money to buy revenue. If you were to put this $20,000 on a credit card, what's the interest rate on credit cards? Yeah, let's say it's 20%. Well, how many days do you have where you accumulate no interest on a credit card? 45 to 60 days, right? From when the payment actually charges. Let's say 45 to 60, okay? 45 to 60 days. If you're in a non-contingency fee, meaning you receive cash up front from clients, right? Or payment plans or a combination of both. Well, let's say that you were to get a 5-to-1 ROI, like we've established here. You spend 20K, you bring in 100K. To invest this much in marketing, if you have a credit card, which is how I got started in marketing, it's how Andy got started in marketing, on a credit card, and in the window between when you pay this, you bring in additional revenue. And then you're able to pay down the credit card. We think we're scared about how much we need to spend to invest in our firms. What we're really not quantifying in our head is that it's really just a time delay. And that the real reason we're not investing in our firms is we don't have faith in our ability to get a return from our investments. Let's say your contingency fee. Your line of credit interest is going to be around 7% per year. If it takes you 2 years to get your cases to settle and you get revenue not until 2 years, 7% times 2 with the accumulation effect, let's say it's 15% on 2 years on that line of credit that you pay down. So you spend $20,000 a month and multiply that by 1.15 to give it the additional amount that you'd have to pay back. And you're worried about this and you're not focused on the 5-to-1 ROI. Where else in the market can you get a 500% annual return? Give me some investment opportunities. Where can you get a 500% return? I'll tell you, the only place that you can get a 500% return is investing in your freaking business. That's the only place that you can get a 500% return. How do you get a 500% return? You invest in your freaking business. That's how. And you invest whether you're scared, whether you have the money, you don't have the money. You invest like your vision is real. There's no shortcut or cheat code here. I went through it, and if you want to transform your firm, you have to go through it too. Because the little percentages you're going to pay here is nothing compared to investing in yourself and investing in the business that you have right under your feet right now. It's not real estate. It's not crypto. It's not some third-party thing. It's the asset sitting under your... All right, I'll let you fill that in. Once we learn how to trade money to buy leads, then we have to learn how to trade money to buy time. Now, let me clarify something on leads really quickly. When you trade money on leads, you really want to figure out how you can outsource incremental and embrace exponential. And what I mean by that is when you start to invest in your firm's growth, obviously you want to get out of that rainmaker state where you're the only person bringing in the cases. Word of mouth is the evidence that you've gone through this phase if your only source of cases is word of mouth. Then we graduate to the demand phase, right? This is where we learn to embrace Google PPC. We learn to embrace local services ads. We do SEO. We learn how to do a lead generation Facebook campaign for our firm. We create a autopilot demand generation system for our firm. This is how you create, this is what's called the demand phase. This is how I went through it, turned on a Google ads campaign, a Facebook ads campaign. In the old days, it was Yellow Pages. My dad depended on Yellow Pages. That was his demand campaign. It got him away from word of mouth, and he created a scalable, predictable lead generation system with numbers tied to it, right? So that he was able to have predictable lead volume. We've all gone through some demand phase, but then this is where things change, awareness. Again, I've interviewed all the best lawyers in the nation in terms of the biggest law firm owners, and I've been able to see common denominators. They spend all their time getting proactive attention. They're spending their time knowing how to get great on video. I'm talking about what all of us can afford. We all can't afford to do TV commercials. We all can't afford to do stuff that, these big firms can do, but we all can afford to do video. At the end of the day, we want to get to a place where we're in omnipresence. And in order to get to this high level area where you're only focused on marketing strategy, okay? You're only focused on marketing strategy and branding, is you have to outsource incremental. You have to outsource everything that's down here. I'm telling you, you becoming a Google Ads expert is not going to be a good use of your time because there's plenty of people who can do it. but there's nobody who can get on camera on social media and pretend to be you. Maybe an AI bot will be able to soon. But until that happens, you need to outsource this stuff so that you can spend your time on high level initiatives. So you have to outsource incremental and you have to embrace the exponential tasks. That's how you generate leads. Now, let me ask you this. You get all the leads in the world, you sign up all these cases. How many of you would like to have some freedom so that your head doesn't spin off when you have double the leads, double the cases, double the clients? I don't want your head to spin off. So here's how you buy back your time. Just like Warren Buffett established, we went through how he allocates resources on the capital side. Now we're going to show you how he trades other people's time. You trade time to buy freedom by understanding Maslow's hierarchy of needs applied to your business, right? So when you start your business, you only focus on survival tasks, picking up the phone, putting out fires, solving all this stuff, right? Then you graduate to the next level, which we call the relational. This is when you start delegating through other people, you become a manager. Then esteem. This is where you become a leader. This literally aligns directly with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And then eventually you get to what's called self-transcendence. This is where you're omnipresent, you're the visionary behind the firm, and you use your imagination, not your time, to make money. Your hourly rate increases through each of these. You start at a $10 an hour rate, $100 an hour effective rate, $1,000, and then eventually you get to where you're only spending time on $10,000 an hour high-level activities for your firm. And the way you do this is by ascending the leadership paradigm. You start out doing, you then become a manager, you then become a leader, and then you become an imaginer. See, Elon Musk is in the imaginer category. He has visions for the future, and someone else leads all of his companies. Someone else manages all the day-to-day, the accountability, the hiring. Elon Musk is not in interviews with people. Okay, he has active managers for all of his businesses because someone else is doing all this stuff. So the way that you trade other people's time to buy freedom is you spend this 20% of your future growth goal on marketing to buy $100,000 a month in revenue. And with that extra $100,000 a month in revenue, you buy other people's time, which means you hire employees. Now, the most successful firms in the nation, they spend 40% of their gross revenues on payroll, people doing the work. So we have to look at this extra $100,000 a month gives us $40,000 a month to invest in staff, right? So we have $20,000 a month we're spending on marketing. We have $40,000 a month we're spending on staff, which buys you your freedom. And they have a leader that doesn't get in their way or micromanage. Now, how many of you are ready to become a leader and stop micromanaging your team and actually build a team that runs your firm without you? This is how you do it. You hire great people, you don't need to manage them. So the key is understanding great recruiting. How do you hire A players? Figure it out. Stop complaining. If you up your recruiting process, you'll hire A players. So stop complaining. Start selling people in your interview process. You can do it. And then, so we have 20K, right? We have 20K coming out of this. We have 40K coming out of this. We have 10% you're going to spend on mentors. You should be spending at least $10,000 a month on coaches and mentors to figure out how to get to that next level. Then we have another 10K for overhead. That's just, office overhead expenses. And then we have 20K a month in cash flow. A business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. This is the profitable part. You trade your money for revenue, you use the revenue to buy other people's time, and as a result, you create a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. What I want to kind of break down is what we learned from all of this. In the process of investing in your firm's future, there's 5 lessons I've learned. So number 1, the upside math is always more important than the cost. All of your competitors are looking at the money out, and the visionaries are looking at the upside math, where they're going and by when. You're a visionary. Number 2, at every phase of growth, you must invest before you're ready. There's never the right time to invest. When's the right time to invest? Let me know. Later, next week. Number 3, increasing your lead volume forces hiring and delegation. You don't delegate your casework first. No. You flood your law firm with more leads. You force yourself to get more clients, and you force yourself to eject yourself from the case management and intake because of the flood of clients. It's the fastest way to scale a firm, right? Because it forces you out of the day-to-day. Rather than theoretically removing yourself, no. Flood yourself with leads, get more cases, force yourself to hire someone else. That's the fast way. Outsource incremental tasks and embrace exponential. You don't need to learn all the technical stuff about your marketing, but you do need to be the visionary of your marketing. And in order to be the visionary of your marketing, you need someone else to handle all the day-to-day stuff that creates your lead machine. The last and most important takeaway is your learning budget is what creates your return on investment. Your learning budget, that 10% that you spend in mentors, coaches, and advisors, that's what creates the return on investment. Because if you don't know how to build a better intake process, you don't know how to hire people, how to manage people, how to create a world-class culture, how to make it so no employee ever leaves your firm, how to delegate, what are you going to learn? Through trial and error. And trial and error is the most expensive way to learn any skill. Someone else has already learned it. Pull out this myth in your mind that you're going to learn through trial and error. Never again are you going to let yourself learn through trial and error, and instead, you're going to learn from someone who's already been there, done that, to short circuit your path to success.